If you're a trader and you're confused about what the markets are currently doing, part of your confusion may come from what happened in the markets last week, especially on Thursday. Fundamentally speaking, we have some very mixed variables, and that's why you may be having some confusions and maybe the charts are slowing down. You're not really seeing clearly where you think the market will go. Well, in this weekly prep session, I'll be giving you clarity as to what to expect. So, going back to 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, when Fed Chair Jerome Powell said that they could cut the interest rates. We saw a big spike on Euro USD, and since then we've been expecting a bull run on EUG gold and possibly a downward movement of USD JPY. Yeah, but all of that was dependent on jobs continuing to decline and for probably inflation to either stay the way it was or for it to drop. If inflation had dropped or stayed the same and we actually continue to get lower jobs in terms of volume of jobs, then definitely the rate cuts would be unavoidable, like to be 100% settled. But last week, Thursday, September 11th, when we saw the news come out for continuing jobless claims, this was good for the USD. They were expecting 1950k, but it virtually got 1939k, which is less than they expected. So less people, it came out, they were expecting that okay, this much people say they don't have jobs, but then it came out less than that. So that was good for the USD. But then initial jobless claims was bad for the USD. Jobless claims 4 week average was bad for the USD. Core inflation rate month to month stayed the same at 0.3, 0.3. CPI was good for the USD. That's the Consumer Price Index. It was good for the USD. CPI August, good for the USD. Inflation rate month to month was good for the USD. So basically saying that inflation increased from 0.3 to 0.4. Inflation increases when you have money being pushed into the market. So there's a lot of money in circulation, right? So that was good for the USD. If all these things were red, my bro, Euro USD GU would have spiked because it's now confirming the bias of okay, these rates are gonna be cut and all the fundamentals are in agreement with this. But then we're having good news for the USD, bad news for the USD. Which are we going to follow? Then inflation year on year stayed the same at 2.9. Core inflation stayed the same at 3.1, giving us okay, the markets will like slow down a little bit. We need to see like some more fundamentals to confirm to really have that big volume coming for big massive volume to push this price where we want it to go. But it doesn't change the bias yet because there's really nothing that reverses the bias. So inflation rates month to month August increased. So the Fed, see, the job of the Fed is not necessarily to either to have a very high inflation rate or to have a low inflation rate. Their job is to balance the economy. If inflation rate is getting too high, they'll do some things to drop it back low. If it's getting too low, they'll do some things to take it back a little bit. So it's always going to be that up down movement, right? So right now they are saying that the job market is slowing too much. Yeah, and the implication was supposed to be that inflation would drop, but now that inflation also increased, so we're having mixed signals. That's why it's kind of confusing. But I'll give you clarity both technically and fundamentally and even sentimentally. Yeah. So for inflation year on year, stay the same. We've already cleared that. And but there's also one more news I didn't really do much. That was the monthly budget statement, and that was negative for the USD as well. So going into Friday, we didn't really have much apart from this Michigan consumer sentiment, which was like it's like a survey asking consumers if they think that the economy got better or if it got worse. And the one that came out was negative for the USD. So let's see what that news is all about. What it means is when it comes to consumer expectations, the index of consumer expectation focuses on three areas: how consumers perceive future prospects for their own financial situation, right? So you just read through this, right? A higher than expected figure should be seen as positive, while a lower than expected figure should be seen as negative. So this came out and it was very okay, not so much, but we were expecting 58, but we got 55.4, giving us more alignment towards the rate cuts and telling us that okay, we're still gonna have this bull run most likely. So for Monday, let's see, do we have anything like special coming up for Monday? So we've got balance of trade for the euro, and for those who trade euro USD, just have to pay attention. We have New York Empire State Manufacturing Index. I'll come and take a look at that shortly. But for Tuesday, what do we have? On the USD, nothing much. Okay, actually, we do have a lot. So we have retail sales, we have retail sales, retail sales, retail sales. That's a lot. Retail sales. On Wednesday, we have housing starts, building permits. Okay, gasoline stock exchange, FOMC economic projections. Okay, and this is the dates we're actually waiting for. Yeah, this is the dates we're actually waiting for. So this is the final one. This is the final one that tells us if they're gonna cut these rates or not. So that's the day they're making the decision. So that's the final day. So if they cut the rate, EU goes through the roof, G goes through the roof, gold continues its gold run. If they don't cut the rates and they leave that the same thing, the market will slow, but I still see EU GU still going up because of how strong the euro and the pounds are at the moment. But if they instead hike the rates, which is highly unlikely, then we're seeing a plummeting, which is highly, highly, highly unlikely. So this is the day that we're waiting for, September 17th. And coincidentally, is this new week that we're entering. So you have to like be very vigilant. This is Wednesday. You don't want to miss the moves that happen between Monday and Tuesday, because if you miss those moves, you may have basically missed your very good entry for the bull run. So now let's look at sentiment and see what everybody else is doing on EU and GU. So right now you see 66% of people are actually selling Euro USD. And if Euro USD keeps trickling higher a little bit, we're gonna have more people trying to sell it, and we're gonna see that sharp movement upwards. So sentiment confirms that okay, more people are selling, meaning that most the market is most likely gonna like go against them. For GU, it's 54. It's not enough to like make a decision, but it still tells you what most people are doing. And then for UJ, you have more people buying than you have people selling. So when you're doing sentiment analysis, you want to go contrarian, but you don't want to just go contrarian at any time. You want to use like when it's towards 70, 80 to like actually make a decision. But this is just like a conference, like kind of show us this is what everybody's doing. So you really don't want to be doing what everybody's doing. So now let's go into technicals. Let me use Wanda charts. So first things first, Euro USD. I've had these projections for a very long time, like since July, June, that price was gonna push and hit the stock. Let me show you why I've been projecting in last week's weekly prep, what I said price was gonna do. I literally still have my markings here, and price did literally exactly that. So I had this zone marked out that price was gonna like bounce off here. I said either price just continue upwards here, which it actually first of all did, or it was gonna like calm down, which is I think this is the one that eventually worked. So I said price was gonna literally come down to this level and possibly react from here. So it's either it's reacting from this high or it's coming down into this OB right here. So we don't know. Price can decide to still trickle down and push, but price is see. This is me saying I'm projecting that price is gonna get to 1.18320, but the first target is here. However, you want to jump on the trade, find a way to jump on the buy that meets your strategy and the way you trade. The first target is 1.17801. That's my first projection for USD. And after that, we're aiming for 1.18320. Yeah, that's my projection. So technically, we're still bullish on Euro USD, and I've had this projection since all the way down here since the 31st of July. We've been trickling upwards. So since let me take over all these other zones. I just leave it here as where price will react from. So this for Euro USD. Still going according to analysis. Let's look at GU based on my last week's analysis that I dropped. So GU did not get to any of the zones, but it's still moving according to what we've projected. The target for GU is 1.35966. Yeah, that's the target for G. But my first, this was the bounce that actually made a lot of sense. And if G really still wants to come down, this is where I expect it to come to. Like it may probably clear liquidity below this level and bound. Maybe it may do this. It may do this. You do not know. It may just do this. If if EU if Euro USD decides to come down back to this level, like if EU decides to come back here, GU most likely will do this, like come down here, like grab liquidity below these lows, come into this OB and then push forward. Maybe it may do that, or since it's already bullish, it can just decide to just keep moving from here. And first target is 1.35954. Second target, which is overall target, is all the way up here. Oh, that's just a small r, and I can't delete. Okay, to remove it. Second target is all the way up here at 1.37874. That's like my overall target for GU. So, and I've also had this projection for quite a while now, since the same from since August 1st. I've had this projection that price was going to trickle all the way up to that target. Now that's for EU and G. Now let's look at gold on the 4-hour time frame. So gold is still bullish, and we're still going to see new all-time highs. I've had zones that were not visited, so I can take them off, although not on the 4-hour chart. They're visited on the lower time frames. Okay, we've got, so price, there was a little small time frame trade happen here, but it's just all internal structures, all continuation BSs, just small intraday trades. Eventually we're going to see price push up. So now the next target for gold is 3,674. Let me see if I can go and find any of that target on, there's no data because it's an all-time high, right? So I really, gold is just gonna go higher, because if the USD keeps getting weak, the gold is a safe haven for investors. So they're gonna like push their money in here and push forward. That's what's gonna happen. Could we see price come down here? Highly unlikely. I don't see price coming here, but I don't want to dismiss the possibility that price could actually just first day, Monday, Tuesday, push down, grab liquidity, and then push forward. Or you can just continue upwards. So I don't really trade gold, but I just like to look at it and see what it wants to do to kind of give me an understanding of what the market is doing towards commodities, right? So for UJ, which is one I actually do trade, I've said that UJ has so much order flow on this side. You can see all these boxes. The order flow is just so strong. It's been so perfect. So once UJ breaks this order flow, is dying straight up. And we've had the moves have started already. The moves have literally started already. We saw price break below this solidified point. This one right here. This is a solidified point. And it has reacted off. Okay, it's currently there. Let me just make this smaller. It's not creating bearish order flow now. It's currently here, reacting off of here. So um UJ from this week, I'm projecting, if the fundamentals come out as projected and everything moves as we've planned, I'm projecting a bearish movement on UJ down, first of all, towards 146.233. Then from there it proceeds to 145.869. Then overall the next target will be all the way down here to 142.736. That's much later, but first things first, we'll see price do this. But if they they hike the rates instead of dropping it, we're gonna see UJ go up. It's very simple. So it's just an emotional, it's just a response. See, I've told you guys before, the fundamentals do not magically move the market. What moves your market is supply and demand. Supply and demand is always the mover of the market. Supply and demand is always the mover of the market. And when news comes out, what you see is it makes investors, or it makes people take decisions that push supply and demand into the market. So if 100,000 people are buying, that's a lot of demand. Prices will go up. If a lot of people are selling, that's a lot of supply. Prices will go down. So if the news comes out and everybody says, let's sell low. So it's not the news itself that magically moved the market. It was the action of the people who saw the news. Do you understand? So I saw a trailer of a movie. I think it was it Free Fall, and 9/11 just happened, and while everybody was just seeing the first crash of the plane into the buildings, they're like shocked and gasping for air and like, oh my god, that's so bad. This trader literally saw an opportunity to cash in the market, because he knows that once every other person pays attention to this news, their response will be to sell. So he started selling first. I have no idea how much this guy's risked on that trade, but in the next 12 minutes, or next 10 minutes after these guys placed their sales, they were up 70 million, 90 million, 180. Bro, it's the response of the people to the news, not the news itself. If the news comes out and nobody does anything, the market will not move. But you should also understand that these big firms and corporations, they have HFTs that have been trained to respond to news events. That's why you see those news flashes so fast, because it's not humans pressing those buttons so fast. It's they have bots that have been trained to place buys and place sells at breakneck speed, right? So you're competing against machines. Just know that. The only way to safeguard yourself is to really understand how these markets work. And once you do that, your stress is alleviated, seriously speaking. So now we know what to expect. We know not just what to expect, but why it's gonna happen. The next thing to worry about now is how do you take advantage of it. So if you do not have a system or do not have a strategy, you have to now focus on how to solve that problem. And I do have a solution for you, but I won't be talking about it right now. Let's go to BTC first. So BTC, that is by, oh, it's already moving well. So I'm projecting a bullish movement on BTC as well. And I've had this projection since I think the 29th of August. Basically the same thing as GUE and gold. Yeah. So my overall target for BTC is all the way up here at 123,731.21. I don't know how long it will take to get there, but I know it will get there, Sha, based on what I'm seeing and also based on the economy. So excuse me, this was a 1:6 projection I made on sorry, BTC. So we have this break one, I have this final break, so we're clearly bullish now. So possibly we could first for the first target will have to be here, this high right here. Once price takes that, it's gonna take this next and then this finally. So let's look for places that we could possibly look for trades. So this is the 4-hour time frame, and this is a valid high, this is a valid low, possibly a liquidity grab below this low, which is almost occurring. Then we could see price react off of this hidden OB right here. So possibly push down, push up. You can decide to do that. It can decide to do that, or even come lower into these levels, but we do not know yet. Just wait for what price to do, and then you respond. But the point is just align with the market dominant trend. Very simple stuff. So that's for BTC. Let's NZD is not really my pair. I don't really trade NZD, but I've had projections of bullishness and it's just gonna keep going bullish. Next target is here at 0.59787. Let's look at GJ for example. GBBJPY. The beast. Which is not a pair I trade, but I just want to look at it for this session. Just so let's get daily first. Let's see what happens on the daily. It's very choppy sometimes. That's why I don't trade it. So, oh my god, this is the reason why I don't trade these pairs. What is this? Anyway, this is a lot of internal structure. So from this high to this high, everything here is internal structure on the daily time frame. It's like come on now. But we've got some form of order flow coming in here, and it's been consistent over time. So you have to like drop to a lower time frame to even see what's going on. But it's trickling higher, Sha. It's just like proceeding upwards a little bit. What price reacts from here? Oh jeez, yeah, this is so not nice. I don't like this kind of markets. Okay, we've got a break. This is such an incomplete retracement, but if I was trading this, I'll most likely be on like 1 hour or something, or 30 minutes. Let's check out 30 minutes. It's just so choppy and it's basically ranging in between here and here. Well, however, let's look at this. It's still bullish. It's bullish short term or long term if you want to break. Okay, we're still bullish. Come that would have been a trade for me to this top here, and then price decided to react off of here, and that's taking out this high. Right. So what could we possibly expect price to do? The price could easily just keep pushing, or it could decide to come react. Sorry, it could decide to come react off of somewhere like here. Yeah, because that's gonna react off somewhere like here, or eventually decide to grab liquidity. Sorry, decide to grab liquidity. Why are you backwards? Anyway, your choice. Grab liquidity, then react. GG likes to do this a lot. Can decide to grab liquidity and react off of this zone right here and push forward. So that could happen. That could happen. Uh, or we could just see GJ decide that, okay, you know what? I don't want to follow anybody's analysis. I just want to do what I like and it's just do this. So I'm not saying nothing is impossible. So GJ can do anything he likes, but based on the trend, and if you want to align, this is what I'll be expecting GJ to do based on what the trend is currently doing. So I think that's everything. That's all the pairs that I want to look at. I said last week that if you want me to look at certain pairs, just drop them in the comments and I'll make sure I go over them during my weekly prep. But you did not, so no problem. So let's look at DXY, then we'll call this a day. So all my projections on EUG, Gold, UJ, they're all linked to this particular one. It's basically doing the exact same thing. So the target on DXY is 96.361. Why? DXY is bearish long term, right? And not just bearish, we got a liquidity grab above this high and we've got a reaction coming in from this, not so fine, but some sort of OB here, and that is why we're expecting price to keep pushing to this target. So it's bearish. We look for a liquidity point that price can grab liquidity from to sponsor that continuous movement, and that's what it did here. It points to react from, that's what it did there. And where we're targeting the overall low before the retracement started, and that's here. So that's very clear. That's straight to the point. So if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments. And if you want me to look at more pairs next week or beyond, just drop them in the comments as well. So make sure you like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe for more, because we're definitely going to be dropping more weekly preps like this that go even more in depth. If you want to confirm everything I've been saying, go back to like 4 weeks ago weekly prep and see if the market didn't do what I said it to do. 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, just see. Now, I didn't actually get any special trades during the week. It was just a quiet week. Basically, I didn't get any trades at all on EUG and GU and UJ, so there's nothing to show there. But that's all for this session. Thank you guys for joining in, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.